All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And salutations to all the hopeful elect, pushing out this word in truth and in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. Sincere Shalom to Akim and Akwaf that's listening and learning as well. This is Brother Quad from the DC camp. Come back at you with another lesson. And I'm entitled it, The Real Prophets Will Tell You What You Need to Hear. All right, and that's opposed to as what you want to hear, which is what people would rather have, man. You know, so we're gonna tell you what you need and not just what you want. You know, it's not always gonna feel good or it's not always gonna be favorable to you, but it's the truth. You know, and that's what it's about. You know, sometimes we do try to season it with salt to you know, because we come all things to all men. But at the end of the day, it's going to be truth, and we're going to speak the truth without compromise. Now, I'm gonna pull out this one story from First Kings, which you see right here, and I'm expound upon it. You know, expound upon what I was saying, and I'm gonna grab some other scriptures, but this is the main story. Let me see what I want. I'll just start from the top. This First Kings 22 and verse 1. It says, "And they continued 3 years without war between Syria and Israel. And it came to pass in the third year that Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, came down to the king of Israel." Because this was after the split, right? It says, "And the king of Israel said unto his servants, Know ye that Ramoth and Gilead is ours, and we be still, and take it not out of the hand of the king of Syria." Yeah, so he wanted to get that land and Ramoth Gilead. So he wanted to take it out of the land of Syria, which they was at war. But it said continued 3 years without war at that time, right? It says, "And he said unto Jehoshaphat, which was the king of Judah, Wilt thou go with me to battle to Ramoth Gilead? And Jehoshaphat said to the king of Israel, I am as thou art, my people as thy people, my horses as thy horses," because they were still the same, man. They're still Israelites, right? It says, well, man. Yeah, it says, "And Jehoshaphat said unto the king of Israel, Inquire, I pray thee, at the word of Yahweh today." Because see, Jehoshaphat was more righteous than Ahab, man. You know? Let me see. Yeah, Ahab, which is the king of Israel. He was wicked, man. You know? As a matter of fact, let me get this one scripture. No, I'm gonna get it later. Let me just keep going. Um, so he told him to inquire of the Lord. Then it says, "Then said the king of Israel, then the king of Israel gathered the prophets together, about 400 men, and said unto them, Shall I go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear? And they said, Go up, for the Lord shall deliver it into the hand of the king." So what Lord were they really talking about, man? You see, because it's not even all caps. But those are the false prophets. These are the prophets that's going to tell you what you want to hear. What they say, they know who butters their bread, man. They keep telling the king what he wants to hear, that he's gonna to give. He's gonna be well pleasing unto them, man. You know. So they pretty much saying you're gonna be fine, you're gonna get to victory, man. But these are the so-called prophets, and they not really reliable, man. You know. So watch what it says. It says It says verse 7. It says, "And Jehoshaphat said, Is there not here a prophet of Yahweh, besides that we might inquire of him?" So he's saying, well, I want a prophet of Yahweh, and that's what you should really be wanting, is a prophet of the Lord, not just a prophet is somebody that said before. You got some people that just self-proclaimed prophets, man. But the actual prophets of the Lord, they're gonna tell you what the Lord wants to hear. I mean, what the Lord wants you to hear, the truth. Okay? So Jehoshaphat, he knew that. It says, "And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, There is yet one man, Micaiah, the son of Imlah, by whom we may inquire of Yahweh. But I hate him, for he doth not prophesy good concerning me, but evil. And Jehoshaphat said, let not the king say so. Right? So let me highlight that. So he said, so he knew those wasn't prophets of the Lord. And so when Jehoshaphat asks, is there any more? He said, there's one man, Micaiah. He said, but he hates him. Why? Because he tells him the truth, man. And the scriptures say what? I'm not enemy because I tell you the truth? Am I your enemy because I tell you the truth, man? And in this fact, Micaiah was Ahab's enemy because he told him the truth. But guess what? Ultimately, you saying that the Lord is your enemy because he's speaking the words of the Lord. You know? And see, Ahab, he's not alone, man. You got people today, you know, that wants to hear the smooth things, man. You know? So if we when we teach the truth, you got people that don't like it, man. And they walk away. They don't want to hear the counsel of the Lord. Okay? They tell us to get the counsel of the Lord from away from them, man. You know? Let me keep going. Matter of fact, it just made me think of something. Let me see. 1 second. Um, that's not it. All right, let me just keep going. It says, verse 9. It says, the king of Israel called an officer and said, hasten hither Micaiah the son of Imlah. And the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, sat each on his throne, having put their robes in a void place in the entrance of the gate of Samaria, and all the prophets prophesied before them. Where's my thing at? I don't know what happened to it. Salakia. Damn it. Okay. And it says, verse 11, it says, and Zedekiah, the son of Kenaiah, made him horns of iron, and he said, thus saith Yahweh, with these shalt thou push the Syrians until thou have consumed them. So once again, they tell him what he wanted to hear. They made horns of iron and say he's going to consume the Syrians. It says, and all the prophets prophesied, saying, go up to Ramoth Gilead and prosper, for Yahweh shall deliver it into the king's hand. So now they try to say that these is the words of the Lord. All right. It says, and the messenger that was gone to call Micaiah spake unto him, saying, behold, now the words of the prophets declare good unto the king with one mouth. Let thy word, I pray thee, be like the word of one of them, and speak that which is good. So he's telling Micaiah to say what all these other prophets said. You know? He's saying, speak. They all spoke with one mouth. You should do the same, man. Right? And then it says, this is a point right here. I'm gonna highlight this one. Oh no, that was the wrong one. It says, verse 14. It says, and Micaiah said, as Yahweh liveth, what Yahweh saith unto me, that will I speak. So he came to the king, and the king said unto him, Micaiah, shall we go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall we forbear? And he answered him, go and prosper, for Yahweh shall deliver it into the hand of the king. So he being sarcastic, man. So this reply says, and the king said unto him, how many times shall I adjure thee that thou tell me nothing but that which is true in the name of Yahweh? So now you're going to tell him what's true. It says, and he said, I saw all Israel scattered upon the hills as sheep that have not a shepherd. And Yahweh said, these have no master, let them return every man to his house in peace. And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, did not I tell thee that he would prophesy no good concerning me, but evil, because pretty much he's saying that you're gonna die, because they don't have a king. It says, and he said, hear thou therefore the word of Yahweh. I saw Yahweh sitting on his throne, and all the hosts of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his left. And Yahweh said, who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this manner, and another said on that manner. And there came forth a spirit and stood before Yahweh and said, I will persuade him. And Yahweh said unto him, wherewith? And he said, I will go forth, and I will be a lying spirit to in all the mouth of in the mouth of all his prophets. And he said, thou shalt persuade him and prevail also. Go forth and do so. So now he's telling him that he saw that the Lord wanted him to, he persuaded him to go, and he said it's going to be a lying spirit. So he's telling them all the prophets they was pretty much lying, but the Lord wanted them to, because Ahab was wicked, right? Let me keep going. It says, now therefore, behold, Yahweh hath put a lying spirit in the mouth of all these thy prophets, and Yahweh has spoken evil concerning thee. So he's telling them that the Lord spoke evil, which is bad times concerning him. But Zedekiah the son of Kena'ah went near and smote Micaiah on the cheek, and said, which way went the spirit of Yahweh from me to speak unto thee? And Micaiah said, behold, thou shalt see in that day, when thou shalt go into an inner chamber to hide thyself. And the king of Israel said, take Micaiah and carry him back unto Ammon, the governor of the city, and to Joash, the king's son, and say, thus saith the king, put this fellow in the prison, and feed him with the bread of affliction and with the water of affliction until I come in peace. Now, this is key, because this is what the prophets go through, man. Yahushua went through it. The disciples went through it. The prophets, they went through it. They had the true prophets for speaking the truth. They go through certain things because the people hate it, man. You see? That's what happens to the faithful teachers, man. He got thrown into prison, man. Until, let me see. Let me keep going. But it just shows you that's a characteristic of the true prophet. It says, and Micaiah said, because remember the scriptures say what? If you were of the world will love his own. Let me get that. Well, I thought it was right here. I might be saying it wrong. Let me look. Bear with me. I think it's I'm gonna come back to this. This is John 15 and verse 19. It says, if you were of the John 15 verse 18, it says, if the world hate you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. If you were of the world will love his own. But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. So we just like our master, man. The world's going to hate us just like it hated Yahushua. Why? Because we telling the truth. What Yahushua said, why do they hate him? Because he prophesied that the works thereof are evil. All right? So this is where I'm at. This is verse 28. It says, and Micaiah said, if thou return at all in peace, Yahweh have not spoken by me. And he said, hearken, O people, every one of you. So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, went up unto Ramoth Gilead. And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, I will disguise myself and enter into the battle, but put thou on thy robes. And the king of Israel disguised himself and went into the battle. So he thought he was going to outsmart the Lord. He tried to disguise himself, man. Because remember, he said, because Micaiah said that if he comes back in peace, the Lord have not spoken by him. So he think he going to outsmart the Lord, And this is what happens. It says, and the king of, but the king of Syria commanded his 30 and 2 captains that had rule over his chariot, saying, fight neither with small nor great, save only with the king of Israel. Because he wanted him. He wanted the king of Israel to die, man. The spirit was put on him to do so. It says, and it came to pass when the captains of the chariots saw Jehoshaphat that they said, surely it is the king of Israel. And they turned aside to fight against him, and Jehoshaphat cried out. And it came to pass when the captains of the chariots perceived that it was not the king of Israel, that they turned back from pursuing him, because the king of Syria said, don't mess with them, just the king of Israel. It says, and a certain man drew a bow at a venture and smote the king of Israel between the joints of the harness. Wherefore he said unto the driver of his chariot, turn thine hand and carry me out of the host, for I am wounded. And the battle increased that day, and the king was stayed up in his chariot against the Syrians and died at even. And the blood ran out of the wound into the midst of the chariot. And there went a proclamation throughout the host about the going down of the sun, saying, every man to his city and every man to his own country. Exactly like Micaiah prophesied. It says, and one washed, it's verse 37, this is the point that I want. So the king died and was brought to Samaria, and they buried the king in Samaria. You see? It says, and one washed the chariot in the pool of Samaria, and the dogs licked up his blood, and they washed his armor according to the word of Yahweh which he spake. So that was the point, man. He wanted to hear the lies, man. And you got prophets today that's going to teach the lies. Why? Because they want the big congregation, you know, as opposed to teaching the truth without compromise. What's that? Let me get some scriptures down. Okay. This is I don't think it's even Isaiah. I want Jeremiah. This is Jeremiah 5 and verse 29. No, verse 30. It says, a wonderful and horrible thing is committed in the land. The prophets prophesy falsely, and the priests bear rule by their means. And my people love to have it so. And what will ye do in the end thereof? Yeah, because see, our people, they love to have it so, man. You know? They don't want the counsels of the Lord. They want to hear what they want to hear. This is Isaiah 30 and verse 9. It says that this is a rebellious people, lying children, children that will not hear the law of Yahweh, which say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceits. Get you out of the way, turn aside out of the path, cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us. And the scriptures say that they do always resist the Holy Spirit. You know? That's why all these things is coming upon Jake, because they want to hear the smooth things, man. They don't want to hear the truth. You know? And you got the false prophets that's appeasing them, man. If you had a doctor, right, would you want the doctor to tell you the truth, or would you want that doctor to tell you a lie, man? You know? If you had a mechanic of a car, do you want him to tell you your car's all good, or do you want him to tell you what's actually wrong with your car? You know? This is the same. How much more so the words of a true prophet? We was going into was talking about the doctor, right? What about this is because we spiritual doctors, if you will, man. You know, which can lead you into eternal life. But that's not what these people want, man. You know, but the true prophets, they gonna tell you the truth. And even if we got to go through affliction for it, man. You know? And you just seen that lesson, which was the importance of listening to the Most High's word, man. Okay? Let me get a couple more scriptures. What the hell? This is 2 Timothy Second Timothy 4, verse 3. It says, I'm gonna start at 2. It says, preach the word, be instant, in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. So that's what we do, man. It says, for the time will come where they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall heap to themselves teachers having itching ears. And they shall turn away their ears from the truth and shall be turned into fables. And that's what we seeing now, man. You know, but we preaching, and that's how you tell, man, who's constantly out there, who's the ones that's always correcting the doctrine, being a defense of the gospel. You know, this is what we doing, man. Now I'm gonna go to Titus. This is Titus 2 and verse 15. It says, these things speak and exhort and rebuke with all authority. Let no man despise thee. You know? So we don't care if you like it or not, man. We're going to teach you the truth. We're going to speak only what the Lord said to speak, man. You know? We got to, matter of fact, that's Isaiah 58 and verse 1, it says, cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression and the house of Jacob their sins, man. Yeah, we have to show you your sins. Because what the scriptures say, if I had not spoken to them, they had not had sin. But now, because he has spoken, they have no cloak for their sins. So we have to tell you, man. We have to tell you what's right, man. You know? We just going to speak in the truth. I mean, I got a few more, but you know, that's pretty much the point. Let me get this short one real quick. This is Ezekiel 20 in verse 2. It says, well, I read verse 4. It says, wilt thou judge them, son of man? Wilt thou judge them, cause them to know the abominations of their fathers, man? Because Jake want to know that they want to hear that they kings and queens, and nah, man, you gotta tell them the truth, man. Because you want the women want to know that they equal, and nah, that's not what it is. And you gotta tell them it for truth's sake, and for order's sake, man. You know, that's why you got all this disorder amongst all these other cats, man. Because they not telling the full truth. You know, the image of the Lord is putting us in order, man. You know. See, man. Let me get. So ultimately, we supposed to be speaking the truth, even if nobody wants to hear it, man. All right, that's Ezekiel. Come on, son. Ezekiel. Let me see which one I want. Because it talks about. It talks about how he made our faces hard. I'm trying to see if this is it. And I'm gonna close after this one. This is Ezekiel 3 verse 4. It says, and he said unto me, son of man, go, get thee into the house of Israel and speak my words unto them. And that's what we're doing. For thou art not sent to a people of a strange speech and of a hard language, but to the house of Israel. Not too many people of a strange speech and of a hard language, whose words thou canst not understand. Surely had I sent thee to them, they would have hearkened unto thee. But the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me. For all the house of Israel are imputed and hard-hearted. Behold, I have made thy face strong against their faces, and their forehead strong against, and thy forehead strong against their foreheads. As an adamant harder than flint have I made thy forehead. Fear them not, neither be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house. All right. Moreover, he said unto me, son of man, all my words that I shall speak unto thee receive in thine heart and hear with thine ears, and go get thee to them of the captivity and to the children of thy people, and speak unto them, and tell them, thus saith Yahweh, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear. So that's what we do, man. So like I said, that's the point of the lesson. You had a little bit more, but that's the point. You know, the true prophets of the Lord is going to speak even if nobody wants to listen, man. You know, they're going to proclaim the truth, which is an endangered. It's endangered. People speaking the truth is an endangered species today, man. You know, because a lot of even these self-proclaimed prophets, they not speaking the truth, man. You know, they saying what the people wants to hear. Okay, but that's how you tell the true prophets from the false prophets. All right. So with that, Lord willing, is edifying to the next lesson. I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Hakadash. I want to